The UNSS Perseverance dropped out of faster-than-light travel with a sound that made everyone on board wince. Metal groaned. Warning lights blinked on 3 different control panels. A thin stream of coolant leaked from somewhere in the engine room, and Chief Engineer Rodriguez muttered something in Spanish that definitely wasn't polite. Captain Maria Chen sat in her command chair and pretended everything was normal. This was humanity's first trip to the Grand Terminus, the massive space station where dozens of alien species met and traded. They needed to make a good impression. The fact that their ship was held together with welds, prayers, and what Rodriguez called creative engineering was not ideal. "We're here," Chen said quietly. Through the main view screen, the Grand Terminus grew larger. It was beautiful. The station looked like a flower made of metal and light, with dozens of docking arms reaching out like petals. Ships of every shape and size moved around it. Some looked like living creatures. Others were perfect geometric shapes that hurt to look at. One ship seemed to be made of pure crystal that caught the light of the nearby star. Then there was the Perseverance. Their ship looked like someone had taken parts from 6 different vessels and stuck them together. The hull was covered in mismatched metal plates. Some were shiny and new. Others were old and scarred from impacts. The fusion drive stuck out at odd angles. The new FTL drive they had just invented was bolted onto the back like an afterthought. It worked mostly, but it wasn't pretty. "Incoming transmission," said Lieutenant Park from Communications. "The terminus is giving us docking permission. Bay 47, take us in." "Nice and slow," Chen ordered. As they approached, Chen could see other ships near the docking arms. A massive bioship from the Valorian Empire pulsed with soft light. Its surface looked alive, breathing. Near it, a Ket vessel hung in space, all sharp angles and impossible geometry that seemed to exist in more dimensions than 3. Further out, a genship phased in and out of normal space, its hull so smooth it looked like liquid metal. The Perseverance limped past them all, leaving a small trail of frozen coolant droplets. Inside the terminus, the reception hall was enormous. The ceiling stretched up so high it might as well have been the sky. Aliens of every type moved through the space. Some walked. Others floated. A few existed as clouds of glowing particles. Captain Chen walked forward with her small delegation. Lieutenant Park and Chief Rodriguez flanked her. They all wore their dress uniforms pressed and clean. Chen held her head high. Behind them, through the massive window, the Perseverance sat in its dock. Even here, from a distance, it looked rough. The Galactic Council waited for them on a raised platform. 7 representatives from 7 different species. Chen recognized them from the database Earth had received when they first made contact. The Valorian representative was tall and elegant, with skin that shifted through different colors. The Ket looked like living crystal, light bouncing through its body. The Zhen representative was old, ancient even, with eyes that had seen centuries pass. Chen approached and stopped at the proper distance. She pressed her fist to her chest in the universal greeting they had been taught. "Honored Council," she said, "I am Captain Maria Chen of Earth. Humanity requests permission to join the galactic community." For a moment there was silence. Then the Valorian representative made a sound. It took Chen a second to realize the alien was laughing, not a polite chuckle, a real open laugh. "That ship," the Valorian said, gesturing toward the window. "That is what brought you here? It looks like a scrapyard pretending to be a starship." Several other council members made sounds that might have been their version of laughter. Chen felt heat rise in her face but kept her expression neutral. "Our ship is functional," she said calmly. "Barely," another counselor added, "a creature made of overlapping geometric shapes. We observed your arrival. Your vessel was leaking coolant. Your hull integrity is questionable at best. How did you even survive faster-than-light travel in that thing?" "Carefully," Rodriguez muttered behind Chen. The Gen representative raised one ancient hand and the laughter stopped. "Humans," the old alien said, "we welcome you to the Grand Terminus. However, your technology is clearly in its early stages. We cannot offer you full membership in the galactic community at this time." Chen had expected this. Still, it stung. "What can you offer us?" "Observer status," the Valorian said, no longer laughing but still sounding amused. "You may attend our meetings. You may learn from us. Perhaps in a century or 2, when your ships no longer fall apart, you can reapply." Chen wanted to argue. She wanted to defend humanity, defend the Perseverance, defend every engineer who had worked around the clock to build their FTL drive with limited resources and even more limited knowledge. But she was a captain and she knew when to retreat. "We accept observer status," she said. "Thank you for your time." As they turned to leave, alarms suddenly blared through the station. The massive view screen that took up one entire wall flickered to life. It showed deep space, the darkness between stars, and emerging from that darkness, moving toward the terminus, were ships. Dozens of them. They were huge, angular, made of dark metal that seemed to absorb light. Chen had never seen ships like these. But from the way every alien in the room went silent, from the fear she could see on faces and in body language across species barriers, she knew these were bad news. "Devourers," someone whispered. The Gen representative stood, moving faster than Chen thought possible for someone so old. "Emergency council session now. All representatives to the chamber." The Galactic Council rushed away, leaving the humans standing alone in the reception hall. On the view screen, the dark ships kept coming, growing larger with every second. Rodriguez stepped up beside Chen. "Captain, what are devourers?" Chen watched the approaching fleet. "I don't know. But I think we're about to find out." The emergency council chamber was chaos. Chen and her delegation had been allowed in as observers, standing at the back of the room while alien representatives shouted at each other in a dozen different languages. The translation devices everyone wore could barely keep up. On the holographic display at the center of the chamber, the Devourer fleet advanced. Chen counted 47 ships, each one massive. They moved in perfect formation like sharks circling prey. As she watched, one of the ships extended what looked like giant mechanical arms. The arms reached toward an asteroid and simply consumed it. The rock disappeared into the ship, broken down into raw materials in seconds. "They are harvesting the belt," the Ket representative stated, its crystalline body vibrating with each word. "At this rate, they will strip every resource in this sector within one planetary rotation." "We need to evacuate," the Valorian said. Its skin had gone pale, shifting to colors Chen associated with fear. "We cannot fight them. No one can fight them." "Explain," Chen said from the back of the room. Every alien turned to look at her. She probably should have stayed quiet, but if there was a threat this close to Earth, humanity needed to understand it. The Gen representative gestured for her to approach. "You do not know of the Devourers." "Of course not. You are young." "They are old, ancient even by our standards." The holographic display changed. It showed historical records, battles from thousands of years ago. The Devourers, the mechanical fleet that consumed everything in its path. Planets stripped bare. Entire star systems left empty. "They are machines," the Gen continued, "created by a civilization long dead. They seek only to gather resources and replicate themselves. But that is not what makes them dangerous." "What makes them dangerous?" Rodriguez asked. "They learn," the Ket answered. "They adapt. Every weapon used against them they study. Within hours they develop countermeasures. A weapon works once, perhaps twice, then never again." The display showed a battle. Chen watched as a fleet of bioships, similar to the Valorian vessel, attacked a Devourer harvester. Their organic weapons were effective at first, burning through the machine's hull. But then the Devourer changed. Its outer armor shifted, adapted. The next wave of organic weapons splashed harmlessly against its surface. 13 civilizations fell to them before, another counselor said. A being made of what looked like living liquid. A coalition of 30 species finally drove them back. The cost was millions of lives, thousands of ships. "They have not been seen in this sector for 1,000 of your years," the Gen said. "We thought they had moved beyond the rim, into the space between galaxies. We were wrong." As they spoke, another alarm sounded. The holographic display shifted to show current events. A Valorian scout ship had approached the Devourer fleet, probably trying to gather data. Chen watched as one of the machine ships turned toward the scout. There was a flash of light, some kind of energy weapon. The Valorian ship's bioorganic shields absorbed the first blast. But the Devourer fired again, and this time the energy passed right through the shields as if they weren't there. The scout ship exploded. The Valorian representative made a sound of grief. They adapted in seconds. "One shot to learn, one shot to kill. We have to do something," Chen said. "Do what?" The Valorian snapped. "You heard the history. It took 30 species and thousands of ships to drive them away. We have 7 species here, and most of our military fleets are weeks away. Then we buy time," Chen argued. "We slow them down." "With what?" Our ships are faster than theirs, but they have numbers. Any weapon we use will only work once. Our perfect shields, our adaptive hulls, our dimensional phasing, all of it becomes useless the moment they see it. The Ket representative vibrated, which Chen had learned meant it was thinking hard. The human speaks truth. We must attempt to delay them. But how? The council fell into argument again. The Gen suggested sending a diplomatic message trying to communicate. This was rejected immediately as something that had never worked before. The Ket proposed a mathematical solution, using multiple ships with different weapons fired in a specific sequence to confuse the Devourer's learning algorithms. But that would take weeks to calculate properly. We could retreat, the Valorian said again. Abandon this sector. It pains me to say it, but if we cannot win, we should preserve our people. And let them consume everything here? The Gen asked. This sector has 17 inhabited systems. We would be abandoning billions of lives. Chen listened to them argue. She watched the holographic display as more Devourers emerged from dark space. 50 ships now, 60. They were bringing their full fleet to bear on this sector, and the council had no answer for them. Captain, Rodriguez whispered beside her. This is bad, I know, I mean really bad. These things are like, remember the stories from the 22nd? When the automated defense network went rogue? Chen did remember. Humanity's own attempt at creating adaptive military AI had nearly destroyed Earth. It took years to fight machines that learned from every battle, that adapted to every strategy. The victory had cost millions of lives and taught humanity a hard lesson about fighting adaptive enemies. Park, Chen said quietly to her communications officer. Get me detailed scans of those Devourer ships. Everything you can pull from the Terminus sensors. Yes, Captain. Chen stepped forward again. The council was still arguing, going in circles. She waited for a pause in the conversation. Honored council, she said. They turned to her. The Valorian's expression was somewhere between annoyed and desperate. I know we are only observers, Chen continued. I know our ship is a joke to you. I know we are the youngest, most primitive species in this room. Your point? The Ket asked. Chen took a breath. This was a gamble. Maybe a stupid gamble, but sometimes stupid gambles were all you had. We have seen this before, she said. Not these exact machines, but something very similar. Humanity has fought adaptive, learning enemies. We lost millions of people learning how to fight them, but we won. The council chamber went quiet. Every alien was staring at her now. You think you can help? The Gen asked slowly. I think we can try, Chen said. And trying is better than running. The Valorian made a sound that might have been a bitter laugh. You want us to trust our survival to the species with the garbage ship held together with welds and hope? Yes, Chen said simply. Because that garbage ship and the people who built it have something you don't. What? Experience with imperfection. You have all spent so long making your technology flawless that you have forgotten how to fight when things go wrong. We never had that luxury. Every system we build has to work when half of it is broken. Every battle plan has to account for failure. That is how humans survive. The Gen representative looked at her for a long moment. Then it turned to the rest of the council. We have no better options. Let the humans try. What do we have to lose that we are not already losing? Our lives, the Valorian muttered. But it did not vote against the proposal. One by one, the council members agreed. Chen was given permission to present her plan. Rodriguez leaned close. Captain, do we actually have a plan? We will, Chen said, watching the Devourer fleet on the display. We will. Captain Chen stood in front of the holographic display with her crew around her. They had been given 2 hours to develop a plan. 2 hours to find a way to fight an enemy that had destroyed civilizations. Rodriguez and Park had worked through the Terminus database, pulling up every record of past battles with the Devourers. The data was not encouraging. Now the Galactic Council waited for her presentation. She could feel their doubt. Most of them still thought this was a waste of time. The Valorian representative looked like it was already planning evacuation routes. Here is what we know, Chen began. The Devourers learn by analyzing patterns. They scan weapons, defensive systems, ship movements. Their computers process this data and adapt. Every strategy eventually fails because they see it, study it, and counter it. We already know this, the Ket said impatiently. Tell us something new. What you are missing, Chen continued, is that this strength is also a weakness. The Devourers are perfect learning machines, but they need patterns to learn from. They need predictability. She gestured, and the holographic display changed. It showed the Perseverance rotating slowly. Every flaw was visible. The mismatched hull plates, the leaking coolant systems, the fusion drives that fired at slightly different strengths. The jury-rigged FTL drive. This is our ship, Chen said. You have all made it clear what you think of it. But look at it from the Devourer's perspective. There is no pattern here. Our port drive fires 3% stronger than our starboard drive. Our shield generators cycle at irregular intervals because they are powered by 4 different systems that do not synchronize perfectly. We have 17 different hull materials, each with different properties. The Gen leaned forward. You are saying your ship is too broken to analyze? More than that, Rodriguez spoke up. He pulled up a technical schematic. Our ship was built by hundreds of engineers working with limited resources. Every system has redundancies, but those redundancies were not planned. They evolved. When something broke, we added a backup. When that backup failed, we added another backup using whatever we had available. There is no design philosophy here. No elegant solution. Just layers and layers of what worked at the time. Park added another display showing sensor data. When the Perseverance dropped out of FTL, the Terminus sensors detected 47 different anomalies. Our ship should not work. By every standard of proper engineering, it should fall apart. But it does not, because we have so many redundant systems that something is always working. Chen nodded. The Devourers will try to analyze our ship. They will look for the pattern, the system, the logic. They will not find it because there is none. And while they are trying to understand why our ship even functions, we can hurt them. The Valorian stood up. You want to use your ship as bait? You will die. Maybe, Chen admitted, but we will die buying time for your fleets to arrive. Or we will die learning something about the Devourers that you can use. Either way, it is better than running. This is madness, another counselor said. You are talking about deliberately using broken technology against an enemy that has destroyed civilizations. Yes, Chen said simply. Because broken technology is unpredictable, and unpredictable is exactly what we need. The chamber fell silent. Chen let them think. She knew what she was asking was insane by their standards. These were species that had spent thousands of years perfecting their technology, eliminating every flaw. The idea of deliberately using imperfect systems was alien to them. The Gen representative spoke. Explain your tactical plan. How exactly will you engage them? Chen pulled up a star chart. The Devourer fleet is currently harvesting the outer asteroid belt. We will approach them directly, not trying to hide. They will scan us. They will see a primitive ship with inconsistent systems. They might ignore us at first, or they might see us as an easy target. Then what? The Kett asked. Then we make them chase us, Rodriguez said with a grin. We lead them through the asteroid belt on the most chaotic path possible. Our ship is already terrible at maneuvering. We cannot turn sharply. We drift when we are supposed to go straight. These are flaws, yes, but they also make us impossible to predict. The Devourers will try to target you, the Valorian said. Their weapons are extremely accurate. Against ships that move predictably, Chen agreed. But the Perseverance does not move predictably, it cannot. Half our maneuvering thrusters fire at different strengths. Our computer compensates, but not perfectly. We will be bouncing off asteroids, spinning when we should be straight, and generally flying like a drunk pilot. Park laughed. Captain, we have been doing that since we left Earth. Now it is a strategy instead of an embarrassment. While we keep them busy, Chen continued, we will be transmitting detailed tactical data to your fleet. Every time the Devourers adapt, every time they change their systems, we will see it happening. We will give you the information you need to time your attacks during their adaptation windows. The Kett's crystalline body vibrated. The windows when they are recalibrating. When they are vulnerable for brief moments. Exactly, Chen said. Your ships are better than ours in every way. You are faster, stronger, more advanced. But you need timing. You need to know exactly when to strike. We can give you that. At the cost of your ship and your lives, the Gen said quietly. Chen met the ancient alien's eyes. Every human on the Perseverance volunteered for this mission knowing we might not come home. Earth is only a few light years from this sector. If the Devourers consume everything here, they will reach our planet eventually. We would rather fight now, on our terms, than wait for them to come to us. The council members looked at each other. Chen could see them having silent conversations, probably through some technology humans did not have yet. Finally, The Gen spoke. Very well. We will allow this. But I want your crew to know, Captain Chen, that their sacrifice will be remembered. If you succeed, if you give us the data we need, we will make sure humanity's first action in the galactic community was one of incredible courage. We are not planning to be sacrificed, Rodriguez muttered. We are planning to confuse some robots and live to brag about it. Despite the tension, several council members made sounds that might have been laughter. Chen turned to her crew. Rodriguez, I need every backup system we have ready to go. If something breaks, I want another something ready to take its place immediately. That is just called Thursday on our ship, Captain. Park, set up continuous data transmission to the Council fleet. Everything we scan, they get in real time. Already configured, Captain. Chen looked back at the holographic display. The Devourers were getting closer. More ships arriving every hour. On the display, the Perseverance looked small and pathetic next to the massive alien vessels docked at the terminus. How long until we can launch? Chen asked. 15 minutes, Rodriguez said. I just need to patch that coolant leak and convince the port fusion drive to stop making that clicking sound. You can fix those in 15 minutes? Rodriguez grinned. No, Captain, but I can make them slightly less terrible, which for us counts as an improvement. The council members were still watching them, probably amazed at how casually the humans discussed their broken ship. Chen pressed her fist to her chest in salute. The Perseverance will launch in 15 minutes. We will lead the Devourers on the most confusing chase they have ever experienced. As they turned to leave, the Valorian called out, Captain Chen, I apologize for mocking your ship. Chen smiled. Do not apologize yet. Wait and see if this actually works. Back on the Perseverance, the crew prepared for launch. Engineers checked systems that were already half broken. Pilots ran simulations of maneuvers that would make any sane pilot sick. And Chen sat in her command chair, looking at the Devourer fleet on her screens. All hands, she said over the ship-wide intercom. This is the captain. We are about to do something very stupid. We are going to fly our broken ship at an enemy that destroys civilizations. We are going to use every flaw we have as a weapon. And if we are very lucky and very clever, we will survive long enough to become the worst headache these machines have ever experienced. Let us go make Earth proud. The Perseverance undocked from the terminus and turned toward the Devourer fleet. Behind them, the entire Galactic Council watched. The hunt was about to begin. The Perseverance approached the Devourer fleet at what Rodriguez called aggressive limping speed. The ship's engines sputtered. The hull creaked. A small cloud of frozen coolant followed them like a tail. On any other day, this would have been embarrassing. Today, it was the plan. They are scanning us, Park reported from communications. Multiple sensor sweeps. Very thorough. Chen watched her tactical display. The Devourers had noticed them. 3 of the massive harvester ships were turning in their direction. They were so much bigger than the Perseverance. Each one could have swallowed a dozen human ships. Let them scan, Chen said. Let them try to understand us. The sensor data was streaming back to the terminus to the waiting Galactic Council fleet. Everything the Devourers did, every adjustment they made was being recorded. This was intelligence gathering as much as combat. Incoming transmission from the lead Devourer ship, Park said. Wait, no. It is just noise. They are not trying to communicate. They never do, Chen said. She had read the historical records. The Devourers did not talk. They just consumed. The 3 harvester ships moved into an intercept pattern. Their mechanical arms folded back against their hulls. Weapons ports opened. Here we go, Rodriguez said. All hands brace for evasive maneuvers. And by evasive, I mean we are about to fly like we are drunk. Chen pressed the ship-wide intercom. Engineering, give me everything that barely works. From the engine room, someone laughed. It was the kind of laugh that came from stress and fear and the absolute insanity of what they were about to do. The Devourers fired. Energy weapons. Bright blue streams of destruction that could melt through most ship hulls in seconds. The Perseverance lurched to the left as Rodriguez triggered the maneuvering thrusters. But the thrusters did not fire evenly. The port side fired stronger. The ship spun into a wild corkscrew, tilting at an angle that made the artificial gravity strain. The energy beams missed, not because of skilled piloting, just because the ship had moved in a way that was physically unpredictable. Rodriguez, what was that? Chen demanded. That was our port thrusters being 30% more powerful than our starboard thrusters, Captain. I have been meaning to fix that for months. Do not fix it now. Do more of that. The Perseverance dove toward the asteroid belt with the Devourers chasing. Chen could see them on her display, adjusting their targeting algorithms. They had analyzed the first maneuver. They would compensate for the next one, except there was nothing to compensate for. Because Rodriguez had no idea what the ship would do next either. Entering the asteroid field, Park called out. "Picking a path?" "No," Chen said. "Do not pick a path, just fly. Trust the ship to be terrible." Park looked at her like she was insane. Then understanding dawned. She turned off the navigation computer and switched to manual control. No computer-plotted course. No optimized trajectory. Just a human pilot flying by instinct through a field of spinning rocks. The Perseverance weaved between asteroids. Sometimes they avoided the rocks smoothly. Sometimes they clipped them. The mismatched hull plates absorbing the impact unevenly, sending the ship spinning in new directions. The Devourers fired again, their weapons tracking where the Perseverance should be. But the ship was never where it should be. "They are adapting," Park reported. "I am seeing their targeting systems recalibrate. Send it all to the Council," Chen ordered. Every frequency, every scan, every adjustment. On her tactical display, Chen watched the data stream. The Devourers were fast learners. After the third maneuver, they had started to predict the uneven thrust. They were compensating for it, their targeting computers creating complex algorithms to track the Perseverance's wild movement. But then Rodriguez did something new. He deliberately shut down the starboard maneuvering thrusters entirely, flying only on port thrust. The ship spun like a top. The Devourer's newly adjusted targeting solutions became instantly useless. "Rodriguez, I could kiss you." Park laughed as another energy beam missed by meters. "I accept compliments in the form of working engine parts." Rodriguez shot back. "Engineering, I need that clicking sound from the fusion drive to get louder." "You want it to get worse?" Someone asked over the intercom. "Worse for us is worse for them. Make it click louder." The fusion drive began making a rhythmic ticking sound. Each tick sent a small pulse through the ship's power systems. The shields flickered. The weapons briefly lost charge. But it also meant the ship's energy signature was inconsistent. The Devourers could not get a clean lock on them. Chen to all hands. "Prepare for Protocol Spite." She heard groans over the intercom. Protocol Spite was something they had discussed as a joke during the flight to the terminus. It was named after Rodriguez's statement that, "If we are going down, we are taking our dignity with us." "Captain, are we really doing Protocol Spite?" Rodriguez asked. "You have a better idea?" "Not even a little bit." Chen pressed the intercom. "On my mark, overload the port shield generator." "Let it explode." "Captain, that will hurt us more than them." "That is the point." "Mark." The port shield generator, already stressed and old, was pushed beyond its limits. It failed spectacularly. The explosion tore a section of hull plating off the port side. Alarm screamed. The ship began spinning in a new pattern, unbalanced and wild, but it worked. The Devourers had been tracking the shield emissions. When the shield exploded, their targeting computers went haywire, trying to recalculate based on the sudden change in the ship's energy profile. "Damage report," Chen called. "We just blew up our own shield generator," Rodriguez said. "So not great. But the starboard shields are still up. And more importantly, the Devourers look really confused." On the tactical display, Chen could see it. The 3 pursuing Devourer ships had slowed. Their scan rates had increased dramatically. They were trying to understand what had just happened. Why would a ship deliberately damage itself? "Park, are you getting this? Are you transmitting the Devourer's confusion?" "Every second of it, Captain. The Council is seeing everything." The Perseverance pushed deeper into the asteroid belt. Park was flying like someone who had never seen a flight manual. She aimed for asteroids instead of avoiding them, using the impacts to change direction. The ship's terrible armor meant each impact was absorbed differently, creating unpredictable bounces. A Devourer harvester moved to block their path. Its massive arms extended, trying to grab the Perseverance. Chen saw the trap immediately. "Park, into the arms." "Into them. They expect us to dodge." "Do not dodge." Park aimed the ship directly at the mechanical arms. The Devourers started to close their grip. But Rodriguez triggered a burst from the fusion drive at the exact wrong moment, when the drive was clicking. The thrust was uneven, pulsing. The Perseverance lurched forward faster than expected, then slower, then faster again. The timing was all wrong. The Perseverance slipped through the closing arms by accident, by malfunction, by sheer broken luck. The Devourer's arms closed on empty space. "I did not think that would work," Park said, her voice shaky. "Neither did I," Chen admitted. "Rodriguez, tell me we have more tricks." "Captain, our entire ship is a trick. We have got coolant leaks, mismatched armor, uneven thrust, and a fusion drive that sounds like a clock. We could fly in circles for hours, and these things still would not be able to predict us. But the Devourers were learning, even from chaos." Chen could see it in the data. They were no longer trying to predict the Perseverance's exact movements. Instead, they were creating probability fields, areas where the ship might be. It was slower, less efficient, but it was working. An energy beam grazed the Perseverance's hull. Alarms blared. Another section of mismatched armor melted away. "They are getting closer," Park warned. "Captain, we have led them on a good chase, but they are adapting even to our chaos." Chen knew she was right. The Perseverance was damaged. Half their systems were down. They had maybe one more trick left in them before the Devourers figured out how to hit a ship that had no pattern. "Chen to Council Fleet," she said into the comm. "We have given you everything we can. Please tell me you are ready." The response came from the Gen representative. "We are here, Captain Chen, and we understand now. We see the pattern of their adaptation. We see the windows. All ships prepare to engage. Time your strikes exactly as the humans have shown us." On her display, Chen saw them. The Council Fleet, dozens of ships emerging from FTL at precise coordinates. They had been watching, learning, timing their arrival perfectly. The Valorian bioships, the Ket crystal vessels, the Gen phase ships, all the elegant, perfect alien technology that the Devourers could so easily counter. But now they were not attacking blindly. "Perseverance, break off," the Gen ordered. "You have done enough. Let us finish this." Chen wanted to stay, but her ship was dying. They had maybe minutes before something critical failed. "Park, get us out of here. Rodriguez, give me whatever is left in the engines." "We have got nothing left, Captain, except spite." "Then spite will have to be enough." The Perseverance, trailing debris and coolant, limped away from the asteroid belt. Behind them, the Council Fleet engaged the Devourers with perfect timing, striking in the exact moments of vulnerability that humanity's chaos had revealed. Chen slumped in her command chair, exhausted. They had done it. They had survived. And more importantly, they had proven something. Sometimes being broken was the best strategy of all. The Perseverance drifted at the edge of the asteroid belt, barely holding together. Half the ship was dark. The fusion drive had finally stopped its clicking sound, which Rodriguez said was either very good or very bad. Emergency force fields held atmosphere in 3 different hull breaches. But they were alive, and through the damaged view screen they could watch the battle. The Council Fleet moved like a symphony. Each ship struck at precisely calculated moments. The Valorian bioships fired their organic weapons during the 2-second window, when the Devourers were recalibrating their adaptive shields. The Ket crystal vessels used their geometry-bending attacks in the half-second gaps between targeting solutions. The Gen phased in and out of normal space, attacking from angles the Devourer computers could not predict because they were following the unpredictable patterns the Perseverance had created. "They are using our data," Park said, watching her console with amazement. "Every maneuver we made, every random movement, they turned it into timing sequences." Chen nodded. The Council Fleet was not trying to be unpredictable like humans. They were too precise for that, too perfect. But they had learned to exploit the moments of confusion that unpredictability created. They had learned from watching the Perseverance turn its flaws into weapons. On the tactical display, Devourer ships began to fall back. Their adaptive algorithms were failing. They had learned to counter elegant alien technology over thousands of years, but they had no framework for understanding the Perseverance's chaos, and now that chaos had been translated into data, they could not process quickly enough. A massive Devourer harvester exploded as 3 Council ships hit it simultaneously from different directions at the exact moment its shields recalibrated. Another tried to phase its armor to deflect a Zen attack, but the timing was wrong. The Devourers were making mistakes, rare errors in their perfect mechanical logic. "Captain," Rodriguez called from engineering. "The good news is we are not exploding. The bad news is we are not moving either. Main power is gone. We are on batteries. How long do batteries last? If we do not use life support? 6 hours. If we do use life support? 4 hours. Use life support," Chen said. "I would like to breathe while we watch this." The battle continued for another hour. It was brutal. The Devourers were still dangerous even in confusion. 2 Valorian ships were destroyed. A Ket vessel lost half its crystalline structure, but the Council fleet had the advantage now. They had information. They had timing. They had learned to fight an adaptive enemy from the species that had just joined the galactic community. Finally, the surviving Devourer ships began to retreat. Their formation broke. They scattered, jumping to FTL one by one, fleeing into dark space. The Council fleet let them go. They had won. The sector was saved. Chen to Council, she transmitted. Congratulations on your victory. The response came from the Zhen. Captain Chen, the victory is as much yours as ours. Please allow us to send rescue ships to your position. We would appreciate that, Chen said, looking around her broken bridge. We are not going anywhere on our own. It took 2 hours for a Valorian recovery ship to reach them. By then, the Perseverance's batteries were at 20%. Rodriguez had somehow managed to get one fusion drive partially working again, but it was making a new sound that he described as concerning. The crew gathered in the main corridor as the Valorian ship docked with them. The airlock opened. Chen expected to see Valorian crew members ready to repair their ship. Instead, she saw the entire Galactic Council. All 7 representatives had come personally. She straightened her uniform and stood at attention. Her crew formed up behind her. The Valorian representative approached first, the one who had laughed at their ship, who had called it a scrapyard. Its skin was shifting through colors Chen had learned meant deep thought. Captain Chen, the Valorian said, I owe you an apology that words cannot adequately express. You already apologize, Chen said. Before we launched, that was before. This is after. After we watched your ship do what should be impossible. After you showed us that we had forgotten something crucial. The Valorian gestured to the Perseverance. For thousands of years, my people have perfected our technology. We eliminated every inefficiency, every redundancy, every flaw. We made our ships perfect. And there is nothing wrong with that, Chen said. There is something wrong with it, the Gen interrupted, stepping forward. Perfection is fragile. When the perfect ship meets an enemy it was not perfected to face, it breaks. Your ship was already broken. It could not break further. Do you understand what you have taught us? Chen thought about it, about every malfunction that had saved them, about every system that worked in ways it should not, about Rodriguez's endless patches and Park's improvised piloting and every choice they had, made with limited resources. We taught you that perfection is a weakness, she said slowly. Yes, the Ket representative vibrated. We have spent millennia believing that advancement meant eliminating flaws. You showed us that sometimes flaws are features. That unpredictability can be strategic. That redundancy is not waste but survival. Another counselor, the one made of living liquid, flowed forward. In one battle, humanity has changed how we think about technology. We are already analyzing your ship's design philosophy, the way your systems layer over each other with no central logic, the way you build for failure instead of success. We do not build for failure, Rodriguez said from behind Chen. We just expect it and plan for it. Exactly, the Gen said. And that is brilliant. You assume things will go wrong and you are ready when they do. We assume things will go right and we are helpless when they do not. The Valorian turned to the rest of the council. I propose we offer humanity full membership in the galactic community. Not observer status. Full membership with all rights and responsibilities. Chen's breath caught. Are you serious? Completely, the Gen said. You have earned this, not with superior technology or military might, but with wisdom. You taught us something we desperately needed to learn. The vote was unanimous. Chen felt tears in her eyes but refused to let them fall. Not yet, not while she was representing humanity. We accept, she said. On behalf of Earth and all humans, we accept membership in the galactic community. The council representatives made various gestures of celebration, each one unique to their species. Then the Valorian surprised Chen by reaching out and touching the wall of the Perseverance. This ship will be remembered, the Valorian said. Already, engineers from 7 species are requesting permission to study its design. We want to learn from its beautiful, chaotic imperfection. I am sure Rodriguez can give tours, Chen said with a smile. I will charge admission, Rodriguez added. Admission is 1 functional component per person. Over the next few days, as the Perseverance underwent repairs at the Grand Terminus, Chen watched something remarkable happen. Alien engineers walked through her ship, taking notes, asking questions. They were amazed by the redundant systems, the mismatched components, the way everything barely worked but somehow kept working. A Ket crystallographer spent 3 hours studying the fusion drive, fascinated by its irregular output. A Valorian bioship designer asked 100 questions about why humans built backup systems for backup systems. The Gen chief engineer called the human approach to problem-solving organized chaos with purpose. Ships began arriving at the terminus for retrofitting. They wanted human-style redundancies added to their elegant designs. They wanted asymmetric systems that could not be easily predicted. They wanted to learn how to build ships that could survive imperfection. On the 5th day, Chen stood in the observation deck watching repair crews work on the Perseverance. Rodriguez joined her, carrying 2 cups of coffee that he had somehow acquired from a Valorian who was studying human beverages. "We changed things," Rodriguez said, "not with better technology, just by being ourselves. By being broken and making it work," Chen agreed. "Captain, do you think this will last? Will they really adopt our philosophy?" Chen watched an elegant gen ship being modified, engineers adding redundant power systems and asymmetric components. "I think we showed them something they had forgotten. That survival is not about being perfect. It is about adapting when perfection fails." The Perseverance slowly took shape again. The repairs were interesting. The alien engineers had not tried to fix the ship to their standards. Instead, they had repaired it to human standards, maintaining the beautiful chaos that had made it effective. They had even kept the clicking fusion drive, saying it added strategic acoustic variation. Park appeared beside them. "Captain, we just received our official Galactic Community membership credentials. We are recognized as a full member species." Chen took the data pad, reading the official declaration. At the bottom was a note from the Gen representative. "Thank you for reminding us that the universe is not perfect, and neither should we be. What do we do now?" Park asked. Chen looked at her crew, at her impossible ship, at the aliens who were learning to embrace imperfection. "Now we go home. We tell Earth that we made it, that we joined the galactic community not by being the best, but by being exactly who we are." "Broken, patched together, and too stubborn to quit?" Rodriguez asked. "Exactly," Chen smiled. "Human." The Perseverance left the Grand Terminus a week later. It still leaked coolant. The hull plating was still mismatched. The fusion drive still made odd sounds. But now, instead of mockery, other ships moved aside with respect. The ugliest ship in the galaxy had changed everything. Not by becoming beautiful, but by teaching beauty in imperfection. As they jumped to FTL heading back to Earth, Chen sat in her command chair and thought about the future. Humanity would bring more ships, more crew, more of their chaotic ingenuity, and the galaxy would be better for it. Sometimes the best way to change the universe was not to reach for perfection, but to embrace the magnificent functional mess of being human. The Perseverance disappeared into faster-than-light space, trailing a small cloud of coolant like a victory banner. Behind them, the galaxy was already different, and it had only just begun to learn what humans could teach them.